let's work on this bike. Alright everybody, we're back in the bike shed, and I have done, whoops, a little cleaning. I don't know if it really comes through on camera, but moved some bicycles up to the loft, cleaned the loft out a little, and you will notice that this Sportster, the 96, the Evo Sportster, the raffle bike is down on the ground and no longer on the jack because of this. If you saw my last upload, I talked about this. Primary is cracked. But we are out here this evening to work on the front tire on my iron head. If you've caught some of my last several iron head videos, or not even last several, just my last iron head video, you will notice that I mentioned it there that the front tire on this bike has a slow leak, and I sprayed some soapy water on it, and it's leaking out here where the tire beads up to the wheel. And these tires only have about 700 or 800 miles on them. I put these tires on last summer, and I guess I didn't do a very good job cleaning out the inside of the rim surface. So I'm gonna get the motorcycle jack, put the iron head on the jack, and we will pull this front wheel off and then break the tire down. And this will just be a real simple video about, you know, fixing a motorcycle tire that's leaking at the bead circumference. Alright, so I've got the jack under the bike, and front wheel is off the ground just a little bit, and we will now loosen the two slider cap nuts and take our axle out, knock our axle through, and then we'll be able to pull the wheel out. This is pretty straightforward. So as I said, you need to loosen all 4 slider cap nuts on the front end of an iron head to get the axle out. Obviously this will be different for every bike, but get them both on each side. Then loosen your axle nut and tap the axle through with a rubber hammer. Then take an extension or a punch or a drift or whatever and gently tap the axle shaft the rest of the way through and set it all aside. Remove the speedometer drive gear, and I actually ended up having to put my axle back in for 2 reasons. The first is I had a bolt for my fender that had started to back itself out, so I needed to remove that. And the second was I completely forgot that on this motorcycle you have to remove both of the brake calipers before you can pull the front wheel out. So remove both of the brake calipers and set them aside. Don't just leave them hanging by the hoses. Hang them up by something else. And once you've got the calipers secured and out of the way, then everything is free to pull the wheel and tire out of the front forks. Alright, so our wheel and tire is off of the bike, and we've got it screwed into our little bead breaker deal. And the next step here is very simple. All we're going to do is just take that lever there and that paddle and break the bead of this tire. Okay, so we got the bead broken on both sides of the tire. It's kind of hard to see. It's a little grungy in there. It doesn't look terrible. I'm just going to take like some fine grit sandpaper or some emery cloth or Scotch-Brite, something of that nature, and just kind of run it around all around here. And clean all of that up. I might even put a little dab of bead sealer around this too. It's a little weird too because I rode this bike a lot last year and didn't have any trouble with it, but it sat just like this on the stand over the winter, and when I let it back down off of the stand after the winter was over, flat tire. So I don't know what's going on there, but we're gonna clean the wheel up, maybe put a little dab of bead sealer on it and reseat the bead, but that'll wait till tomorrow. It's like 8 o'clock. I've been working all day on other stuff here around the house, so. Okay, so it's the next day and we've got some sandpaper, and all I'm gonna do here is just inside of this wheel, right here, like where my thumb is, I'm just gonna sand that and try and take out any rough spots so that the bead of this tire can seat against this wheel properly and fully and not leak. Alright, everything's all cleaned up and we've got the bead to wheel lubed up with a little soapy water, and it's time to use my new tool. I just got this air compressor. This is a DeWalt. It's like a 2-point-something horsepower compressor, like a 26 or 28 gallon tank. And my old air compressor, I finally let the magic smoke out of it, so got me a 100-foot hose reel on the side of the building, and this thing rocks. It is super quiet. Listen to how quiet this is. You stand there and have a conversation next to it, which is nice. So the valve stem is out of the tire. There is no valve stem in here, and we're gonna air this thing up and bead the wheel. Yeah, so you can see where this is leaking. I think I might just not be able to get enough volume of air into this thing at once. You can see this kind of line right here and trace it around, and then you lose it just right through this section of the tire, which is probably about a, I don't know, 18 to 24 inch section. That bead is kind of fallen on the tire and it just won't pop up. If you get enough air pressure and enough volume into one of these, like with a Cheetah or something, or even, you know, a 1/2 inch air hose on a compressor that's aired way up to like 140 or 50 with a valve stem out, you can pop, they'll go pop and jump up into the bead seat of the wheel. But I can't seem to do this here at my house with my little compressor, so I think, and this kind of sucks, that I'm gonna just throw the wheel in the back of my pickup truck and take it with me to my big shop tomorrow morning. I was really planning on riding this bike tomorrow morning. It's supposed to be like 75 degrees tomorrow. It's gonna be like 40 in the morning, a little chilly, but not too bad. So, oh well, maybe I'll just ride this on Wednesday. It's Monday as I film this. So that's a pause on this for now. Alright, so the tire's here at the big shop, and same thing, just right here in this section. I cannot get this thing to bead up, so I think I might try the old fix it with fire when Chris gets here. This is kind of a 2-person job, and see how that goes. Yeah, that's probably way more than it is. There it went. God damn it, you set my pants on fire! Quit! Motherfucker, I'm trying to put the balance cord in! God motherfucker! Okay, so the wheel's back at my little shop. We're going to throw it back up into the fork. Installation here is just the reverse of your removal, make sure you orient your wheel correctly so the tire rotation is correct. If you have any axle spacers, make sure you put them back in the correct spots. Torque your axle nuts, torque your slider caps, and set your slider cap gap as per the factory shop manual. And then in this bike, of course, we'll need to make sure we reinstall the speedometer drive, both of our brake calipers, and I would probably put a dab of blue Loctite on the caliper slide bolts too, since this is an iron head. Yeah, that's really it. I'm not going to even show you guys this. We'll just movie magic it. And 1, 2, 3, new wheel. Okay, so the bike is back down, and I'm going to back it out of the building. I'm going to go park it in my driveway and leave it there overnight. I've got a motorcycle cover I keep up there so it doesn't have to sit outside overnight uncovered. And I'm going to ride this thing to work tomorrow. So it's supposed to be a beautiful day. And yeah, it's nice not having to worry about a tire that might go flat on you. Okay, out into the world we go. Got my gloves, got my helmet, got my jacket. It's like 46 or 47 today, so it's a little chilly, but I got everything I need. Got my lunch box, got my boots tied tight. Hope I don't get in a fight. Good, great, grand, wonderful. Let's get the motorcycle out from under the cover. I kind of just half-assed through on it last night, and let's ride to work. Alright, I'm at the shop, and the bike ran great this morning. Nothing better than a good running old bike on a nice morning like this. It's going to be a beautiful day. The birds are cheeping. We've got a lot of trucks to fix. And yeah, I'll check that tire before I go home. I checked it this morning before I left. Seems like we fixed it with fire. So, say that's the end of this episode. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.